So we're Kaizen Gaming. We do sports betting, we do online casinos, and we are headquartered in Athens, Greece. And on the way here, the taxi driver and many people that I met here at the venue, when I tell them that we're from Greece, they all tell me lovely weather, the islands, what they did for vacation. No one is mentioning international technology companies and services. We are not known for that, which is a step up because 10 years ago we would have been known for cooking the numbers and borrowing a lot of money from the EU. So we are in a good pace and we want to change that. We're Kaizen Gaming. We operate in 19 different countries. We have over 13 million of active users. All this has happened in a very small amount of time during the past 5-6 years, which has brought in a lot of scalability challenges. We have built our own international brand, Betano. We are active mainly in Europe and Latin America. And each of those regions, each of those countries has a different regulation, which it's also a challenge on its own for those who have worked with government bodies in the past. Now, the company's strategy has always been to win on the long game of customer experience. And in order to do that, you must not rely on off-the-shelf products that also your competitors can have, but you have to build your proprietary technology. And this is exactly what we have been doing. We started in 2019 with building our sportsbook platform. We moved on to casinos, to payments, to comms, to CRMs. So everything that has to do with our business has contributed to our success. And since we are in the UK, you might have seen us in the search of Aston Villa this year and the following year. Or you maybe have seen us in the Europa League and the Conference League as official sponsors. Now, growth has been a key driver for us, and we have been the fastest growing brand in the market. We are now proud to say that we are in the top 5 players globally, which is no easy feat, trust me. But apart from the numbers, and this is what drove us to CockroachDB, is the fact that essentially when we're dealing with players, when we're dealing with customers, the number one KPI that we cannot actually measure is trust. And that's the nature of the business, because the players give you their money, and what they get back is a promise that if they win, you're going to pay them back and also make a profit. And that trust is very hard to build and very easy to lose in case of incidents or in case of things not going your way, especially in high peak times. So Ahmed will let you know what is exactly the problem that drove us to Cockroach.
Mic check. 1 cockroach, 2 cockroaches. Okay. So I have to admit what keeps me awake in the past year is my toddler, which is a very nice problem. But jokes aside, those are the numbers in terms of percentages of what kind of incidents we faced in the past year. And as you can see, the biggest number is database-related stuff. So I'm gonna briefly walk you through how our setup in terms of architecture used to look like and how it's looking like right now. A few years back, the way our systems were set up is different domain applications all accessing the same database, which ended up in logs, deadlocks, and other issues in the database. And as a matter of fact, in order for the applications to work, we used to have a lock on the database level so that we tried not to congest it. Now, we identified this problem and we moved to a different architecture where a single application was responsible to write, read, anything related to the wallet in the database. Now, while this got us to the next level, it still produced a lot of problems, mainly page latches, delays when we had a lot of traffic, thread issues, and obviously scalability. So our growth pushed us to the next challenge, where we had to change our architecture, and in the database level, we ended up with a sharded setup, which, while it brought us into better scalability, being able to handle more traffic in our systems, it still has scalability limits, so we decided the number of the shards, and we cannot change this on the runtime. Due to this reason, we also have resource contention when we reach very high numbers in terms of traffic. And last but not least, it causes a great complexity operationally, and in order to maintain this architecture, it needs a lot of effort from our developers. Now, I'm passing on to Nikos to explain what we explored.
So basically what we explored is, instead of sharding our toddlers, distribute them. And this is when we discovered basically CockroachDB. In Q4 last year, we fell in love at first sight with Cockroach running a POC. And what actually won us over was strong consistency, ACID compliance, seamless horizontal scaling, high availability, built-in resilience mechanisms, and stability. All this to actually protect the customer trust. On top of that, the simplified operations, where you don't need anymore the managing the sharding logic, and the developer experience becomes a dream. Now, is it a perfect world? Definitely not. And here are the trade-offs that we found along the way. We observed slightly slower individual inserts due to the distributed nature of the database. When your applications are actually heavily rely on complex join statements, you might actually struggle, so you need to rethink your models. And cold start latency issues, as the DB will need to warm up during initial requests. But compared to what we came from, it's a big leap forward. Now, we actually put CockroachDB into stress test, thorough stress testing, mainly focusing on the two scenarios that you see on the screen. Failover and restore, where we observed 1 to 2 minutes of spike delays, but all requests were processed successfully, and no issues when it comes to rebalancing. At the same time, it's very common to run, of course, maintenance and housekeeping operations, where we didn't observe any significant overhead during, for example, a version upgrade or rebalancing. And what about performance? And this is actually where we exceeded our expectations. What you see on the table on top is our current business as usual setup on a sharded database. And the table below actually shows you what currently right now in our migration, throughout our migration process, we're experiencing with our performance testing. So with 6 nodes in CockroachDB and replication factor equal to 5, we managed to handle up to 120K inserts per minute with 75% of CPU utilization on Cockroach side. We doubled, we quadrupled, and we managed to reach 480K inserts per minute, while the CPU dropped to 65% and response times improved. Spoiler alert, if you go with replication factor of 3 and you do some extra fine-tuning into the system, you can actually go up to 820K inserts per minute, while your CPU utilization still goes around 70%, and your average response time will go around 30 milliseconds. So definitely, you lose in comparison to your sharded setup, the average response time, since you will experience slightly slower responses. But actually, Cockroach gave us what we're actually looking for: predictable scaling, strong consistency, and a much cleaner architecture. Of course, no migration or transition will come without challenges. So the first one we had to overcome was the knowledge gap of our team with CockroachDB. We were coming from a Microsoft SQL tech stack, so this is where actually, with the help of the Cockroach Labs enablement session team, we managed to expedite onboarding and ramp up quickly and start actually developing and migrating. The second key exercise was actually the data migration strategy. As I mentioned before, our tech stack was not in Postgres already, so you really need to do a thorough analysis of how you're going to go throughout all your journey out from your legacy tech stack to the CockroachDB, understanding also the switches, how you verify migration, etc. Last but not least, keep doing continuous performance testing, because this is your way to identify optimization, improvements, and opportunities. We also gave lots of good problems to solve to our friends in Cockroach. We had only in the last 6 months just 12 feature requests, where 3 of them were actually delivered in around 2 months, I would say. And this responsiveness actually gave us confidence in the partnership with Cockroach Labs. So that's partnership. And this is why we say learn it, love it, and live it better, or actually sleep better. Thank you.